Thanks for tuning in, everybody. My name is Brock Page, and you might be surprised as to who I'm picking in the NBA today. If you just can't wait and you want to save yourself some time, check out my picks for this video in the description section below. Once again, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. If for some reason you decide to use the information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. And with that said, let's get into some picks for the 14th. First game, Detroit at Cleveland. The betting opened up with Cleveland as the 8.5-point favorites with the total points at 213.5. Since then, Cleveland fell to just minus 7.5 against the spread, with the total jumping up to 214.5. Currently, Cleveland's clearly favored, laying 340 on the money line, and at the moment, the money's shifting back toward Cleveland, as 57% of the bettors have their money on the Cavs. Speaking of the champs, they've successfully covered in their last two straight. They're facing a Detroit team who's covered just 37% on the road, 38% as the underdog, and just 7 of 23 as the official road underdog. Detroit's games have also gone under the total posted points in 3 of their last 4. On the other side, Cleveland's games have gone under in 3 of their last 4 as well. All that said, I'm siding with the favorites and I'm picking the Cleveland Cavs minus 7.5, getting the job done against the spread. When it comes to the total points, I'm taking the under 214.5. And when it comes to the money line cash, I'm taking Cleveland, winning this one outright at home. Next game, OKC minus 6.5 at Brooklyn, with the total points jumping up to 223.5. Currently, OKC's laying 300 on the money line, and at the moment, a massive 76% of the bettors think OKC will get the job done against the number. Speaking of OKC, they're covering a solid 70% of their games at the current point spread. Along with covering a respectable 65% as the favorite, OKC's a quality 18-7 against the spread versus teams under 500. They're facing a Brooklyn team who's failed to cover in their first matchup. The Nets have also covered 31% of their games at the current point spread. In addition to that, Brooklyn's covered just 11 of 27 against teams over 500. Brooklyn's games have also gone under the total posted points in 2 of their last 3. All that said, I'm in full agreement with the bettors, and I'm taking OKC minus 6.5, getting the job done against the spread. When it comes to the total points, I'm taking the under 223.5. And when it comes to the money line cash, I'm taking Oklahoma City, winning this one on the road. I'm also adjusting the line and taking the under 233.5 as the first pick of my 10-point teaser. Next game, Indiana at New York. The betting opened up with Indiana as the 2.5-point favorites, with the total at 211.5. Since then, Indiana is now minus 3.5 against the spread, with the total dropping down to an even 210. The Pacers are slightly favored, laying 160 on the money line, and currently 57% of the money's on the Pacers to get the job done. Speaking of getting the job done, this Pacer team has only covered 1 out of their last 4 games. They're also just 13 of 33 against the spread on the road. In addition to that, Indiana's covered just 7 of 17 at the current point spread and covered just 30% of their games as the official road favorite. When facing teams under 500, the Pacers have covered just 10 of 25. Indiana's facing a New York team who's 2-1 against the spread in their first 3 matchups head-to-head. The Knicks are also covering a quality 63% against teams with records around 500. New York games have gone under the total posted points in 2 of their last 3. Indiana games have gone under in 3 of their last 4. All that said, I'm in full disagreement with the bettors, and I'm taking the New York Knicks plus 3.5, getting the job done against the spread. When it comes to the total points, I'm taking the under 210. And when it comes to the money line cash, I'm taking the Indiana Pacers in a really, really tight matchup. I'm also adjusting the line and taking the New York Knicks plus 13.5 as the second pick in my 10-point teaser. Next game, Portland plus 4 at New Orleans, with the total points at an even 216. The Pelicans are currently laying 175 on the money line, and at the moment, 62% of the money's on New Orleans to get the job done against the spread. Speaking of the Pelicans, they're facing a Portland team who covers a pitiful 18% of their games at the current point spread. The Blazers also covered just 7 of 22 as the official road underdog. On the other side, the New Orleans Pelicans games have gone under the total posted points in 3 of their last 4. All that said, I'm in full agreement with the bettors, and I'm taking New Orleans -4, getting the job done against the spread. When it comes to the total points, I'm taking the under 216. And when it comes to the money line cash, I'm taking New Orleans to win this one outright at home. Next and final game for the show, it is going to be Philadelphia at Golden State. The betting opened up with Golden State as the 16.5-point favorites, with the total points at 223. Since then, Golden State's now minus 17 against the spread, with the total points dropping down to an even 220. The Warriors are playing Goliath, currently laying 4,000 on the money line, but at the moment, 66% of the money's on Philadelphia to cover that massive spread. Along with successfully covering in the first matchup, the Sixers are covering an impressive 70% against teams allowing more than 102 a game. They're also a solid 41-22 against the spread as the official underdog. They're facing a Golden State team who's covered just 7 of 26 games versus teams under 500. The Warriors have also failed to cover the spread in their last 3 straight, with all of those games collectively going under the total posted points. All that said, I'm once again in full agreement with the bettors, and I'm taking Philadelphia plus 17, winning this one against the spread. When it comes to the total points, I'm taking the under 220. And when it comes to the money line cash, I'm taking Golden State winning this one outright at home. I'm also adjusting the line and taking Philadelphia plus 27 as the third pick of my teaser. I'm also moving the line once again and taking the under 230 as the fourth and final pick of my 4-teamer. Just a reminder, my 10-point Sweetheart Super Teasers pay 5 to 6 and get graded as a loss should any game result in a push. You can find this exotic wager in several online sportsbooks and in the state of Delaware. Well, folks, that is going to do it for me. Once again, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free and free ain't good. If for some reason you decide to use the information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. Most importantly, if you're betting any of these games, do it safe, do it responsibly, and most important, have fun. For Brock Page Predictions and Sports Picks, I'm Brock Page, and have yourself a positive day.